Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. But what happens when greatness isn't just a human construct but a divine calling? When the world doesn't merely command you to rise, but heaven whispers your purpose, your destiny, through the still small voice of God. For those chosen by God, their path is not shaped by chance or human ambition, but by the sovereignty of a higher plan. The chosen ones. You've heard the stories: David, an overlooked shepherd boy, called to defeat Goliath and later reign as king. Joseph, a dreamer betrayed by his brothers, endured slavery and imprisonment before becoming a ruler in Egypt. These weren't tales of luck or coincidence, they were the result of unyielding faith and the refining fire of God's purpose. For many are called, but few are chosen. Matthew 22 verse 14. To be chosen by God is not about privilege, but about preparation, and that preparation often comes through trials. Here's a profound truth to meditate on: the strongest metals are forged in fire hotter than we can fathom. Likewise, God's chosen are refined through adversity. The testing of your faith produces perseverance. James 1 verse 3. Like Daniel in the lion's den, or risking her life to save her people, those who are called to greatness in God's kingdom don't emerge victorious by avoiding challenges. They thrive because they walk through the fire with unwavering trust in the Lord. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze. Isaiah 43 verse 2. Trials by fire, by loss, by impossibility, these are not setbacks but sacred opportunities for God to display His power. Joseph himself declared to his brothers, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Genesis 50 verse 20. The chosen ones don't survive by their own strength, they endure because God's grace is sufficient. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12 verse 9. They're the ones who, battered and bruised, stand firm on the promises of God and declare, "The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear?" Psalm 27 verse 1. Their perseverance isn't born of pride, but of faith in a God who never fails. They don't ask, "Why me?" but instead, "Lord, how can you use this for your glory?" So sit tight. This isn't your typical hero's tale, because the hero isn't the chosen one. The true hero is God Himself. These are the chosen ones, not untouchable, but unshakable in their faith. If you think you can defeat them, remember it isn't their own strength they're relying on. It's the Creator of the heavens and the earth. And if God is for them, who can be against them? Romans 8 verse 31. So take heart, dear reader. If you find yourself in the fire, know that it isn't meant to destroy you but to refine you. Trust in God's timing, His plan and His promise. You may stumble, but like the chosen ones before you, you will rise not because of who you are, but because of who He is. 1. The burden of being unbeatable. Being unbeatable doesn't mean they're privileged or lucky. It means they have been pushed to their breaking point time and time again, and somehow they're still standing. While others see their victories, no one sees the battles they fight in the dark, the sacrifices they make, or the endless expectations they have to meet. For every moment of glory that the world celebrates, there are countless moments of pain, doubt, and struggle that remain unseen. The burden of being unbeatable is rarely seen for what it truly is. When someone is called a chosen one, it sounds like a gift and honor. But in reality, it's a weight so heavy that most people wouldn't survive carrying it for a day. What appears to be a dream is often a never-ending responsibility, where rest is a luxury and perfection is an expectation. They don't see the sleepless nights, the loneliness, or the quiet moments when doubt creeps in. They see only the outcome and expect it to happen again and again. The world doesn't let chosen ones rest. Their victories aren't celebrations, they're demands. Every success raises the bar higher, leaving no room for failure. And when they do succeed, people rarely ask how. They applaud the results but ignore the process, blind to the personal cost of excellence. There's also a brutal truth: being unbeatable makes you a target. People don't cheer for perfection forever, they wait for cracks. They hope for a fall. The unbeatable become a challenge to others, a test of strength or pride. The same world that once raised them high now watches closely, waiting for their inevitable stumble. Yet the chosen ones endure it all. Because the burden isn't just to win, it's to keep winning, even when the weight of their victories begins to crush them. To be unbeatable is to live with an unspoken curse. You're never allowed to stop. No one else may have chosen you, but the world has, and the cost of being unbeatable is that you can't ever let them see you lose. Their resilience is both their armor and their prison, a testament to their strength and a reminder of their isolation. 2. They don't win, they survive. As every so-called victory comes with a price. Their bodies take the hits, their minds absorb the doubt, and their souls carry the weight of every scar. But they keep going not because they're fearless or invincible, but because stopping isn't an option. Behind every win is a story of relentless effort, pain, and an unyielding refusal to give up. The truth about chosen ones is that they don't win in the way people think. Winning for them isn't a shiny trophy or applause from the crowd. It's survival. It's clawing their way through battles that would bury anyone else and somehow emerging bruised, broken, but breathing. Every step forward feels like dragging a boulder uphill, and yet they persist. To the outside world, survival looks like glory. But to them, it's just the reality of being who they are. The people who watch them only see the moment they rise, not the struggle it took to get there. They don't see the nights the chosen ones doubted themselves, when they questioned why they even bothered to keep fighting. Those moments of vulnerability, hidden away from the world, are the rawest parts of their journey. What sets them apart isn't talent or skill. It's their ability to suffer longer, harder, and deeper than anyone else. When others give up because the pain is too much, chosen ones push forward, dragging themselves through hell if they must. They don't just endure, they embrace the struggle, using it as fuel to keep moving forward. Others mistake it for strength, but it's something far darker: stubbornness mixed with desperation. An unspoken refusal to let life or fate decide when it's over. The world may call them unbeatable, but it's not because they don't fall. It's because when they do, they get back up, no matter how impossible it seems. Every bruise, every scar, every failure becomes a part of their identity, a testament to their refusal to quit. Survival isn't glamorous, but it's what makes them unbeatable. They don't need perfection to win, they just need to outlast everything that tries to stop them. And that's what they do, again and again, until there's no one left standing but them. Their journey is not one of triumph but of endurance, and in that lies their greatest strength. 3. Enemies are stepping stones, not obstacles. For chosen ones, enemies aren't roadblocks, they're fuel. Every opponent, every challenge, every person who tries to take them down only adds to their momentum. What others see as threats, they see as opportunities to grow, to learn, and to rise higher than ever before. Here's the kicker: enemies who think they're stopping the chosen ones are actually doing the exact opposite. Their hate, their doubt, their attempts to tear them down only sharpen the chosen one's focus. Every insult, every challenge, every setback is transformed into a stepping stone on their path to greatness. Where others see enemies as threats, the chosen ones see opportunities. They don't waste energy resenting their obstacles, they use them as stepping stones to get even further ahead. Every adversary is a lesson waiting to be learned, a chance to uncover new strengths within themselves. Every battle teaches them something new about their enemies, about themselves, and about the limits they're meant to shatter. Instead of letting opposition drain them, they absorb it like a sponge, turning pressure into power. They understand that the greatest growth comes from the hardest struggles, and they embrace the challenge. When someone underestimates them or throws everything they've got, it's like tossing gasoline onto a fire, it only burns brighter. The stronger the opposition, the more valuable the lesson. Chosen ones don't run from conflict because they understand something most people don't: resistance makes you stronger. Every confrontation is a crucible that forges them into something even more unstoppable. What truly makes them unbeatable, though, is how they turn threats into tools. If you're standing in their way, you're just another lesson they'll master. If you're trying to beat them, you're just showing them how to prepare for the next fight. No setback is wasted. Every failure is a step closer to their ultimate goal. Enemies may think they're writing the chosen one's defeat, but they're really contributing to the story of their rise. Every battle, every attempt to break them, becomes another reason they can't be stopped. The harder they're pushed, the higher they climb. In the end, enemies aren't obstacles, they're just part of the process. What others see as defeat, the chosen ones see as the foundation of their legacy. 4. They exist outside the rules. Chosen ones don't wait for permission or look for validation. They take what others say can't be done and make it reality. When people say no, they find another way. When the door is locked, they break it down. Where others see walls, they see cracks, and they know how to push until the whole thing shatters. They believe in their ability to reshape the world around them, seeing opportunity where others see only obstacles. This mindset doesn't just inspire, it challenges the norms that govern everyone else. It's not that they cheat the system, it's that they rewrite it. Fate bends in their favor not because they're lucky, but because their willpower is stronger than the world's expectations. The concept of fair doesn't apply to them. Fairness is for those who play by the book, who accept their circumstances and don't challenge the way things are. Instead of being bound by fairness, chosen ones act with purpose, knowing that the world's rules are often arbitrary and can be reshaped by those daring enough to try. This isn't about arrogance or entitlement. It's about inevitability. The chosen ones don't just want to win, they have to. Their willpower is so relentless that reality has no choice but to comply. They refuse to accept the rules that limit others because they see the world differently. Where most people stop, they push forward. Where others hesitate, they leap. And where others fail, they find a way to succeed. To them, success isn't optional, it's essential, a natural outcome of their determination and vision. Normal rules don't apply to them because normality was never meant to contain them. They don't just exist outside the rules, they redefine what's possible for everyone else. For chosen ones, these boundaries are meaningless. Their very existence defies the limits everyone else accepts. Their journey isn't just about personal triumph, it's about expanding the realm of possibility for humanity. They show others that the constraints we accept are often self-imposed, and their defiance becomes a source of inspiration. For most people, life operates within a predictable structure: what you can and can't do, what's fair and unfair, what's possible and impossible. But the chosen ones don't play by the rules because the rules were never made for them. Not because the path was easy, but because they refused to believe it was impossible. They embody the idea that reality bends to the will of those who refuse to settle, and in doing so, they leave an indelible mark on the world. 5. Unbeatable isn't invincible. They don't wallow in failure because they see it for what it truly is: a stepping stone to success. Where others would crumble, they rebuild. They take every loss and dissect it, finding the cracks, sharpening their skills, and fortifying their will so the same mistake never happens twice. To them, failure is not an endpoint but a vital ingredient in the recipe for greatness. It's a mirror reflecting their weaknesses and an invitation to grow stronger. What makes them unbeatable is their refusal to quit. Pain doesn't stop them. Setbacks don't stop them. Even at their lowest, when they've been stripped of everything, they still find a way to get back up. Chosen ones bleed like everyone else. They know pain intimately: failure, exhaustion, humiliation. But what sets them apart is what happens next. While others let defeat define them, the chosen ones use it as fuel. Every fall becomes a chance to rise stronger, smarter, and more relentless than before. Their resilience is not just admirable, it's transformative. To them, every loss is a launchpad to a greater victory that no one else saw coming. Being unbeatable isn't about avoiding the fight or walking away unscathed, it's about walking through fire and emerging again and again, no matter how many times the flames burn them. It's not about invincibility, it's about endurance. They accept the wounds, the scars, and the bruises because they know the price of greatness is steep. Each scar becomes a badge of honor, a testament to battles fought and lessons learned. Others might fear failure, but the chosen ones embrace it. They understand that every stumble forward brings them closer to their goals, and every hardship is a test of their resolve. Being unbeatable doesn't mean being perfect. It doesn't mean they don't get hurt, don't stumble, or don't lose. They don't need perfection to win, they just need to outlast the world's attempts to keep them down. And that's why they can't be beaten. Their strength lies in their ability to persist when others give up, and their story inspires those who watch them rise, time and again. 6. Chosen, not by luck but by sacrifice. They know they'll be tested. They know the sacrifices will keep coming. And still they choose to keep walking. What sets them apart isn't just their ability to endure loss, but their willingness to embrace it. While most people see sacrifice as suffering, the chosen ones see it as a trade. They give up parts of themselves to gain something greater: strength, wisdom, purpose. They understand that sacrifice isn't just a cost, it's an investment in their future. Chosen ones aren't chosen because of luck or destiny, they're chosen because they're willing to sacrifice everything most people hold sacred. The universe doesn't hand greatness to those who cling to comfort, it demands a price. For the chosen ones, that price is steep: relationships, peace, safety, even parts of themselves that they'll never get back. They don't hesitate to pay this price because they know the rewards of mediocrity are far less fulfilling than the pain of striving for greatness. They've given up the ordinary because they're chasing something that most people can't even fathom. They give up the normal lives they could have had, the ease of mediocrity, the security of blending in. Instead of a quiet existence, they take on a path filled with hardship, isolation, and uncertainty. Each step forward is a rejection of the ordinary, a declaration that they will not settle for anything less than extraordinary. The extraordinary doesn't come without a cost, and they know this better than anyone. While others dream of greatness but hesitate at the edge of sacrifice, the chosen ones step forward, ready to lose whatever it takes. It's not easy, and it's rarely fair. But they accept the deal because they understand one truth: nothing extraordinary is ever achieved without surrendering something in return. Their sacrifices create a void that is filled with growth, transformation, and the strength to achieve the impossible. The people watching from the sidelines often mistake their sacrifices for madness. They ask, why give up so much? But the chosen ones know that greatness doesn't come to those who play it safe. They're not lucky, they're relentless. And in a world where few are willing to lose, their sacrifices are what make them unstoppable. Their journey is not just about achieving their goals, it's about proving that the human spirit, when fueled by purpose and resilience, is capable of achieving the unimaginable. 7. Their power is a mirror. The chosen ones have a unique way of making people unravel. It's not because they're perfect or untouchable, but because they've already confronted their own demons. They know their flaws and have turned them into strengths. That's what makes them so infuriating to their enemies. They can't be shaken. Their confidence isn't built on illusion, it's built on truth. So when others see themselves reflected in the chosen one's presence, they're forced to face what they've been running from. Most people go through life avoiding their vulnerabilities. They bury their insecurities and build facades of strength to protect themselves. But when they stand against a chosen one, all of that crumbles. The chosen ones don't need to break their enemies, they let their enemies break themselves. Instead of striking, they wait as their adversaries unravel under their own fears and doubts, a silent yet unyielding force of truth. They hold up a mirror that reveals the cracks, and the reflection is often too much to bear. Weaknesses that once seemed small become glaringly obvious, and the fear of being exposed becomes a weapon in itself. And the very presence of a chosen one forces others to face their fears, doubts, and shortcomings. And once that happens, the downfall begins. Each step their opponents take becomes a misstep, driven by an inability to handle what the mirror has shown them. The chosen ones don't need brute force to win. What makes them truly dangerous is their ability to reflect the weaknesses of those who oppose them. They are mirrors, showing their enemies exactly who they are, down to the flaws they try hardest to hide. It's this psychological edge that sets the chosen ones apart. Their power isn't just in what they do, but in how they reveal the truth about others. They don't need to strike the final blow, they just stand firm while their enemies crumble under the weight of their own weaknesses. The mirror never lies, and neither do the results. In the end, their victories are as much a triumph of self-awareness as they are of strategy. 8. Victory is a lonely throne. What makes it harder is that people often project their own expectations onto the chosen one. They become a symbol of hope, of strength, of perfection. But symbols are not people. The world loves to cheer for its champions, but it rarely stops to ask how they feel. Loneliness isn't just a side effect of their victories, it becomes a defining part of who they are. For the chosen ones, winning doesn't bring connection, it builds walls. People see the outcome, not the struggle. They see the victories, not the bruises. They see the crown, but never the cost of wearing it. Others might try to walk alongside them for a while, but eventually they fall away, unable to keep up or unwilling to share in the suffering. The chosen ones learn quickly that no one else can shoulder the weight of their path. They stand alone, not because they want to, but because no one else can. The solitude becomes both a badge of honor and a heavy chain, binding them to a destiny that feels inescapable. Victory comes with a cost, and for the chosen ones that cost is loneliness. People admire them, celebrate their triumphs, and even cheer their name. But admiration isn't the same as understanding. To those on the outside, the chosen one's victories look glorious, effortless even. What they don't see is the price paid to stand on top. The unbeaten streak that others envy is the very thing that isolates them. Every step up the ladder of success becomes another step away from those around them. The sacrifices they make, the burdens they carry, and the battles they endure are theirs alone. Because the chosen ones always find a way to win, no one thinks they need help. So they carry on, shoulders heavy with the weight of their own legend, looking down from a throne no one else can touch and wondering if anyone will ever understand how lonely it is at the top. They may hold the throne, but they also hold the silence that comes with it, a silence that echoes louder than any victory cry. 9. They rewrite the narrative. For most, the idea of being unstoppable fits into a rigid mold: victorious, untouchable, always on the right side of things. But for the chosen ones, that's never enough. They refuse to let anyone define their journey. Heroes become flawed, anti-heroes find redemption, and victories come with unexpected costs. What others think is their weakness becomes their strength, and what people expect to be their downfall turns into the very thing that pushes them to new heights. Their stories are filled with twists that defy convention, leaving everyone guessing about what will happen next. The chosen ones don't just live through their stories, they rewrite them, over and over again, in ways that no one could have anticipated. In the process, they make it impossible for anyone else to copy their path. They don't just overcome obstacles, they turn obstacles into opportunities to shatter the very narrative everyone else thought they were locked into. Their ability to adapt, to bend without breaking, and to redefine the rules of the game sets them apart in ways that traditional success never could. They exist outside the neat little boxes society tries to put them in, refusing to play the role that's expected of them. Whether they're seen as heroes or anti-heroes, they defy the very idea of what it means to be unstoppable. They're not bound by the traditional tropes or predictable outcomes of fate. Instead, they craft their own path, often flipping the narrative so completely that no one can predict what will come next. Each new chapter of their story is a declaration that they are more than the sum of their victories or failures. They are creators of their own destiny. It's not just about breaking the rules, it's about reimagining them. The idea of destiny doesn't hold them, they hold destiny in their hands and bend it to their will. In doing so, they redefine what it means to be unstoppable. It's no longer about sheer force or perfect success, it's about resilience, reinvention, and a constant challenge to the status quo. Their narratives don't just inspire, they challenge others to think differently, to question the limits of their own potential, and to embrace the chaos of reinvention. 10. Failure fuels them. The rejection, the mistakes, the setbacks, they don't sting for long. They turn into the thing that propels them forward, the spark that ignites their next phase of growth. Every time someone doubts them, every time the world says they can't, they turn that doubt into determination. What would stop most people in their tracks only drives the chosen ones to work harder, smarter, and faster. In fact, failure might be the one thing that truly excites them, because they know something others don't. They haven't failed until they've truly been tested. And when they do fail, they use it to fuel their next evolution, ensuring that the next time they come around, nothing and no one will stand in their way. Failure to them isn't just a setback, it's an opportunity. It's a moment to pause, reflect, and recalibrate. They treat failure like an unwelcome visitor that teaches invaluable lessons. Every stumble sharpens their focus, every rejection builds their resilience, and every challenge fortifies their resolve. This ability to transform defeat into fuel is what makes them relentless. They refuse to be defined by their losses. Instead, they rewrite the narrative, proving that no fall is final unless they choose to stay down. Every time they fall short, every time something doesn't go according to plan, they feel the fire of injustice burning inside them. It's not the sting of defeat that they focus on, but the burning desire to make sure it never happens again. The chosen ones understand something most don't. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It comes from the struggle, from the moments when you're pushed to the edge and forced to dig deeper than you ever thought possible. Where others see failure as an end, they see it as a challenge. But the difference between the chosen ones and everyone else lies in how they respond to failure. While most people would let defeat shatter their confidence, the chosen ones get angry. They don't wallow in disappointment or let failure define them. Instead, they use it as fuel, channeling the frustration, the bitterness, and the rage into something more powerful. What would break others only strengthens them. Failure isn't a setback, it's an invitation to evolve. 11. They break before they win. Their legacy is bigger than their battles. The chosen ones aren't defined by the battles they fight or the victories they claim. Their true legacy is found in the aftermath. When they step onto the world stage, they don't just win, they leave a seismic impact that reshapes everything around them. The ripples of their actions extend far beyond their personal conquests, touching empires, ideologies, and entire systems. Each victory isn't just a moment of personal triumph, it's a catalyst for change, a signal that the old ways are crumbling and something new is rising in its place. What most people don't see is that being unbeatable isn't their final goal, it's the foundation, the starting point. From there, the chosen ones turn their focus to something far more powerful, transforming the world itself. They don't just overthrow their enemies, they dismantle the systems that allowed those enemies to thrive. They challenge the very structures that hold society together, questioning what's been accepted as normal and exposing the cracks that others refuse to see. But it's in that destruction that something powerful is forged. They don't rebuild themselves into what they were before, they become something entirely new. The old version of them is gone, and in its place is the version that can't be broken, the version that understands just how deep the pain can go and chooses to rise anyway. It's in those darkest moments when the world feels like it's collapsing that the chosen ones discover what they're truly made of. They find a strength they didn't know they had, a resilience that was born from the very thing that was meant to destroy them. The real power of the chosen ones doesn't come from avoiding destruction, it comes from surviving it and coming back stronger. Every time they're shattered, they learn something vital about themselves, something that makes them unshakable. The next time they face the impossible, they break, but they never stay broken. And that's what makes them unbeatable. They know how far down they can go, and when they rise again, they do so with an unrelenting force that no one can deny. Before the chosen ones rise to greatness, they first fall apart. There's always a moment, a breaking point, where everything they've worked for crumbles. It's not pretty, and it's not easy to watch. They are pushed to the brink, crushed under the weight of failure, doubt, and loss. In these moments, they aren't the untouchable figures everyone admires. They're raw, vulnerable, and completely shattered. They lose everything that once defined them, and for a brief moment it seems like they won't survive. Yet, even in their most vulnerable state, they refuse to give in. The chosen ones take that breaking point and use it as the foundation for a reinvention. They learn to embrace their vulnerabilities and turn them into strengths. The process is excruciating, but it's also transformative. They emerge from the ashes not as the same person, but as a new force entirely, one that understands the depth of pain and the power of perseverance. This rebirth is their true triumph. It's not just about rising, it's about rising with purpose and clarity, ensuring that every step forward leaves an indelible mark on the world. The chosen ones are divine purpose beyond victory. The chosen ones do not merely exist to influence history, they are instruments of God, sent to fulfill a divine purpose. Their actions are not random bursts of brilliance, but carefully orchestrated parts of a plan laid out by the Creator himself. They ignite revolutions, inspire profound shifts, and plant seeds of transformation that grow long after they've completed their earthly mission. As believers, we understand that their purpose is not rooted in their strength or accomplishments, but in their unwavering faith and trust in God's plan. They walk not by sight, but by faith, confident that every step they take is guided by His hand. It's a divine mission beyond comprehension. The journey of the chosen ones is not one of personal glory, but of obedience to the will of God. Their paths are often marked with trials, suffering, and moments of despair. Yet they rise, not by their strength alone, but through God's grace and mercy. As Proverbs 3 verse 5-6 reminds us, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. The chosen ones embody this scripture, walking through life with the assurance that even their defeats serve a greater purpose. Each failure is a refinement, a process through which God shapes them into vessels of His glory. Their setbacks are not final but transformative, sharpening their resolve and deepening their dependence on Him. Just as the Apostle Paul proclaimed in 2 Corinthians 12 verse 9, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness," so too do the chosen ones find their greatest strength in moments of vulnerability, knowing that God's power is at work within them, changing the world through faith. True greatness for the chosen ones is measured not by the battles they win, but by the lives they touch and the faith they inspire. Their legacy lies in the transformation they leave behind, a world that reflects God's love, justice, and mercy. They are disruptors of worldly norms, visionaries who see beyond the limitations of human understanding. They remind us that do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, Romans 12 verse 2. Through their faith, they break chains of oppression, challenge systems of injustice, and create a ripple effect of hope and renewal. The chosen ones are not afraid to defy expectations because they are not bound by earthly rules. They live in the freedom of God's truth, knowing that His ways are higher than our ways, Isaiah 55 verse 9. Their actions are a testament to their belief that nothing is impossible with God, Luke 1 verse 37. By following His calling, they rewrite the narratives of despair and hopelessness, replacing them with stories of redemption and restoration, and the resilience of faith. What sets the chosen ones apart is their resilience, a quality that stems from their unshakable trust in God. They understand that every obstacle is part of a larger divine plan, a stepping stone toward the fulfillment of God's promises. They do not rely on their strength alone, for they know that those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles, they will run and not grow weary, they will walk and not be faint, Isaiah 40 verse 31. This resilience is not born out of invincibility, but out of surrender. It is a reflection of their faith in a God who never fails, even when circumstances seem insurmountable. Each time they rise from defeat, they do so with a deeper understanding of God's sovereignty and a greater determination to fulfill His will. It's a legacy of transformation. The chosen ones leave behind a legacy that extends far beyond their lifetimes. They are not remembered for their victories, but for the worlds they changed and the lives they impacted. Their story is not about personal triumph, but about the manifestation of God's kingdom on earth. They remind us that the kingdom of God is not a matter of talk, but of power. 1 Corinthians 4 verse 20. Through their obedience, they bring God's vision to life, creating a reality where His love and truth reign supreme. Their journey teaches us that transformation is not a singular event, but a continuous process. They inspire us to persevere, to trust in God's timing, and to remain faithful even in the face of adversity. As Hebrews 12 verse 1-2 exhorts us, let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. The chosen ones keep their eyes fixed on the ultimate goal, not earthly accolades, but the fulfillment of God's eternal plan. The call to join the journey. As we reflect on the lives of the chosen ones, we are reminded of our own calling to be instruments of God's purpose. Their stories challenge us to step out in faith, to embrace the unknown, and to trust that God is working through us. They show us that the true power of faith lies not in avoiding failure, but in rising again and again, confident that God's promises are unchanging. If you have been inspired by their journey, know that you are also part of God's plan. You are called to live a life of purpose, to trust in His timing, and to be a light in the darkness. As Matthew 5 verse 14-16 reminds us, you are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Let the stories of the chosen ones inspire you to take up your cross and follow Christ, knowing that the journey may be difficult, but the reward is eternal. Be a part of a community that dares to challenge the impossible and seeks to glorify God in all things. Together, we can rewrite the narrative, not for our glory, but for His. May God bless you and guide you as you walk in faith, trusting in His perfect plan. Let us journey together, for the world is full of untold stories and lives waiting to be transformed by His love.